Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Creatives Ignite. And this is an episode that I think we all are design students for the whole of our life, really. Maybe not everybody, but me as a design professor and a designer, I'm definitely a design student long term. I know for sure Mitch is because he got 3 degrees, right? A bachelor's in graphic design, a master's in graphic design, and then a master in furniture design.
Yep.
There's design in all of those.
True.
And you are, as a professor, I know you have to be continually learning, especially in design. There's so many new things. We have to teach all kinds of things. Definitely there's foundational things.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to, you have, when did you start expressing yourself on Twitter and asking or giving designs, dear design students? How many years have you been doing that?
Boy, that's a good question. I started my first round of Twitter when it was Twitter was must have been the late 2000 aughts. So maybe 2008, 9, 10, and in that kind of neighborhood. And I started out originally, my first Twitter account was a fake Twitter account called Angry Paul Rand, which probably nobody on here remembers. And I was basically, this was when like Mad Men was really big on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I was basically decided to do this like drunk, pissed off Paul Rand. That was like the character. And so it was a lot of, because I mean, I never met him, but I've heard many stories from people who've known him. He's a gruff personality. And so I was just doing this kind of like, clearly it was a parody. I mean, it was not not really pretend to be, but it was funny. And that was really kind of fun. And at the time, and this is so hilarious to say out loud, but at the time, I think I got like maybe 15,000 followers, which put me on like the front page of Twitter 15 years ago. Like that's how many people that was back then. Now that's not that big of a deal. But it was really
a big deal to me.
Well, it's a big deal to a lot of people. Yeah. I mean, it was, and so I did that for a little while. And then I was like, this is fun, but I kind of like actually have stuff I actually want to talk about, not just being amusing, but like things I really want to talk about as I kind of was getting my grad degree, getting my first master's degree, getting into education, like professionally. And so I sort of quit that and then paused for a few months and then started really just my own account. And eventually it got bigger and bigger and bigger for, again, whatever reason that I still don't believe I deserve, but I digress. And then I started thinking about, just really like who I was on Twitter and is it going to be like a fake Mitch? Is it going to be some sort of, hyped version of me? And really what I settled on was being pretty much just me and being authentic, but not like a calculated, I'm going to be authentic to get your views way, but just being who I really am. And then I started tweeting to students and really, ultimately, I was tweeting to me more than anybody else. I mean, everything I said was first to me. I think it was John Gruber who does this blog, Daring Fireball, which is like a tech blog that I don't really read anymore, but he once said he's writing for him. Like his audience is a clone of himself. And I always thought that was really interesting, that it wasn't about me trying to like tell people what they wanted to hear. It wasn't about cleverly sort of directing things at it was just like, here I am, take it or leave it. And that was it. And then it just kind of, for whatever reason, blew up into a thing that, again, I still don't understand why, but I will take it. I'm grateful for it. But that's really kind of where it all started. Yeah.
Okay. So take us back. Tell us a little bit about your background. You, undergrad, you started, tell us where you went if you want. And then what you studied graphic design, but then what happened after
Sure.
undergrad? Okay.
Yeah. So my first round of college when I was 18 was in Syracuse University trying to do an architecture degree, which I
Are you from New York?
Nope, not at all. It was just, I'm from Rhode Island originally.
Okay.
And it was just something, architecture was something I always wanted to do. And I got into, I have no idea where Syracuse is now, but at the time it was like a top 5 school in the country for this. And I like barely got in, and then I failed out spectacularly, which was great. I think I ended up putting in about 3 years there, 1 year of which I was paying attention and 2 years was mostly not paying attention. And so after that, I kind of floated around and did a lot of retail. Like I sold computers. I actually sold long distance, which nobody but you and I probably even know what that is on this call. That was actually a thing you would buy. You would buy long distance phone service. So I did a whole bunch of kind of just things that were not really interesting and just making enough money to scrape by. And eventually I started getting into doing some more fine art. I eventually started getting into doing some very, very low level, like web stuff in the late 90s.
That was all it was low
yeah,
level.
which is all it was very rudimentary, right? And then
every black background, they were all.
Yep. It was like transparent GIFs and all that all the goodies there. I think I used Dreamweaver at one point.
Yes, Dreamweaver. Yes, me too.
And then this friend of mine, Jason, and a couple of other people opened up a small design studio. He really opened it and kind of hired me. And that was when I realized, like, oh, wait a minute, I could actually do this for like, you get paid to do this. Like, this isn't just a hobby. And then I realized I was kind of hitting a wall. I was hitting a ceiling of where I was able to get to. I just couldn't think past a certain point. It was very rudimentary. And I realized, like, oh, I should really think about school again, but I have no idea how I'm going to do that. And my dad, one day we were having dinner. He's like, you should go back to school. And
what age was this?
This was, God, what was I? 30?
Yeah. So this can be hard at some point because some people have already moved on.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh, I'm in this limbo. So this is also, at our school, we have a lot of people who are not traditional.
Yeah, exactly.
18 to 23-year-olds, right?
Yep. And for me, it was great because I wasn't ready to be a college student at 18. I was extremely ready when I was 30, 31, because I realized, oh, there's nothing wrong with working retail. I mean, some people do it and have a phenomenal career. For me, it was not good. It was not, I never felt valued. It was just like, how much did you sell today? I don't care about anything else you did. And that's fine for other people. It's not fine for me. And so my dad was like, you should really think about going back to school. And I was like, ha, don't be a jerk. And then he was like, no, really think about it. And I thought about it and I decided, screw it, let's try it. So I applied, because I was in Rhode Island, I applied to Rhode Island College, which is like a good local college. And then I applied to RISD, Rhode Island School of Design, which is, some would say, the best design school on the planet, right?
Probably number one is still on the list. Yeah.
For many people, right? So I didn't get into Rhode Island College and I got into RISD on a scholarship, which makes absolutely no sense in any capacity. And so obviously I like clearly went to, and I went to RISD and I loved it. It is, I mean, obviously I love teaching and this is kind of what I do as a profession, but I can't overstate the impact RISD had on me. It was such an important moment for me. And I remember driving up to my mailbox and the mailman put in the congratulations envelope sticking out so I could see it. Like, it was a really wonderful moment, And so I went to RISD, had an amazing time there, did lots of work, met a ton of people.
How many more years did you have to take classes? Because you had done 3 years.
3.5 years. Yeah, I did a summer and then 3 full years to get my BFA. I met my former partner there, my romantic and professional partner. We're no longer together. And then from there, we did a bunch of studio work and a lot of freelance stuff, had some clients, and eventually decided a few years down the road, maybe it was time for a master's degree. I knew I wanted to teach. I had been a TA when I was an undergrad at RISD every semester, and I was teaching sort of adjunct after that, getting a class here and there at RISD, at Rhode Island College, who ironically did not accept me because time is a flat circle. And eventually I was like, I really want to do this. Like, this is what I want to do, like, with my life. Like, I really, really love teaching. It's really where I should be. And so a grad degree, an MFA was more or less needed to do that.
So did you go straight from RISD to grad school?
No. Okay. We had RISD, then my former partner, Ann, and I worked together for 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years, something like that. And then in 2010, went to VCU for my first grad degree, which at the time I thought would be my only grad degree. It was not. There was never a plan to do more than that. So and that was really great.
What kind of work were you doing before you went to grad school?
So we did just sort of graphic design agency stuff.
Okay.
Just a lot of, missed clients and things, good work. I think we did quite solid work, but it was, as you do.
Were you still in Rhode Island?
Yep. We were in Providence. Yeah.
Okay.
Eventually went to graduate school. And that's when I realized, like, okay, if I'm going to do this, then this has to sort of have a result at the end that is valuable, because grad school, despite getting to go to a very good program for very little money, it still costs, there's still a fee associated. And so I knew I wanted to do full-time teaching. And so we ended up both applying. Originally, Anne got a job at MICA in Baltimore. So we did Baltimore for a year. I wasn't really getting a job. I ended up at RIT in Rochester, where I am now. And then she came up sort of a year later, and that's, sort of where we settled. And that's where I am today still. And she is also teaching at RIT. Now, even though we're separated, we're still friends. And she is teaching at RIT as well, which is great.
Okay. So then when did you decide so you actually knew you wanted to be a teacher when you were at RISD? You
Yep.
had that kind of calling. You knew that,
Absolutely.
yes, you love design, but there was this other thing you knew you wanted to make impact in this way. But then, so you're working, you go back to grad school. Now you have the credentials to be able to teach. When do you decide to go to furniture design? Like how is that a bug in your ear? Like, because this, I mean, I love that you've done this. This is like hugely inspiring, and I really admire.
Thank you.
Because I can't imagine having going up for tenure, doing all the things that you have to do to be at a research institution, which I'm pretty sure.
It's actually not. It's a teaching institution.
Teaching is ours is a teaching institution as well, but we still have to do some research.
Yep.
And so it's like, how do you do that and go get another degree? Because it's not like you were like, hey, I'm going to take a year off or 2 years off or 3 years off and go get a furniture degree.
I mean, it was kind of stupid to me.
No,
it was a dumb decision. I basically decided I got tenure. After working hard and doing all the applications, I finally received tenure. And I was thinking, okay, I've got tenure. And tenure back in the day really represented an amount of intellectual freedom and all this stuff. These days, all tenure really means is you just have a kind of permanently renewable contract. I can be fired. I still have to do my job. It's not like you're on vacation. I think there's this illusion of what tenure is, where you're just like on a beach, like phoning into classwork. That is not, it's you work a lot harder after you get tenure. And I decided, like, you know what? I've always been interested in sort of making stuff. I've always really liked architecture, obviously. I've always liked building things. I like putting stuff together. Like, for me, building IKEA is like a dream. Like, I love putting IKEA together. And I was like, I'm always interested in this stuff. I've never really worked dimensionally. Like, I've worked flat, 2D, but I've never really worked 3D. RIT happens to have one of the best furniture programs in the country. And it turns out one of my benefits is free tuition, which at first I didn't even register. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. That's interesting. And so I met with the chair of the school. I met with the dean, and I'm like, I'm interested in doing this. Is this something you guys are okay with me doing? Because I'm not going to not teach. Like, you're not paying me to get another degree. You're paying me to teach.
Right.
So I will obviously still be teaching, but are you okay with me doing this? And they were like, absolutely, hell yes, please do it. That's awesome. So everybody in the administration was super supportive. My faculty was super supportive. My colleagues were super supportive. I did a summer class, like a one little 5-week summer furniture class, and I was instantly like in. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Did you already know how to use all the tools like planers and saws?
Didn't know the words. Didn't have any. I had a screwdriver. Wow. Like, I had nothing, And so over, you buy some tools. I get I had a studio space on college. Like, I was a student. All I was taking was basically the major studio. I wasn't doing electives because I already had essentially transfer credits from my other degree. So I was able to just do the studio. And furniture is really weird because as graphic designers, we can pull out a project start to finish in 24 hours, depending on what the job is. You could do a whole project in 20 hours of work, right? It takes an entire double credit semester class, so a 6-credit studio, to do one good piece of furniture a semester. And usually we do a secondary thing that's a little less precise, and it was not enough time. So it's such a different mindset. It's so completely alien to what I was used to. It's not Photoshop. It's not digital. It's like it's physical. It's like cutting things and splinters and sawdust, and you're in it. And it's so cool. It's just so fascinating. Yeah. Okay.
So Amora's here. She has a industrial design degree.
Yep.
And and she likes furniture as well as her. And I've had many conversations about that. So what's the difference? I think I know, but I'd really like you to tell me, because I'm not, I might be assuming. So what's the difference in industrial design and furniture design?
Arguably nothing. Arguably, furniture lives in most schools. Furniture lives in industrial design. Certain schools have furniture design programs, but most schools don't, because it's such a specific discipline that if you want to do furniture design, you're usually an ID. But as what you do is you're designing furniture. At RIT and other schools that have a program, it's really pretty different because ID, and I don't want to sound like the most ignorant person in the world because I am not an ID person, but ID is so much more about manufacturing and material studies and things like that. And ultimately what you're making in ID is sort of visualizations, mock-ups, a lot of, like Maura said, a lot of tools, things like that, materials, ejection molding, blah, 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 blah. Furniture, you're making a one-off thing. It's
art. You have photography. Photography can be commercial or it can be art, fine art photography. Right. Is that kind of what this is? So there is furniture design that is more in industrial design and that is like mass produced, or there's furniture that's like, I'm making this table that's very specific.
Honestly, I think those words are sort of meaningless, to be totally honest. I don't really think about it in terms of art versus design. I don't separate them in my head, which I know a lot of
art people, versus commercial, that's not.
I don't see it like that. Okay. I see it as what the intent is. And for me, the intent was not about mass producing stuff. For me, the intent was not about becoming a sort of production furniture maker, which is what most people will tend to do. For me, it was just another way to express myself and another medium, another format, another set of things to understand and learn, another way to visualize whatever's in my brain, which please don't ask me because I can't possibly explain that. And it was just a really wonderful opportunity that I grabbed.
But this was something where it finally was physical.
Yep.
So this
was weird.
Scratched an itch for you because you'd been wanting to do architecture. Does this meet the need that you were wanting for architecture to fill? Does this really fill that?
So that's an interesting question. I think it is getting there. Not yet, because now that I've gotten this degree, I now have, I have a body of work I want to create, which I can't explain to you because I don't know what it is yet. But I think it is, this is a tough question. I think my practice ultimately is going to sit in sort of a hybrid space between a lot of disciplines because I don't like one thing. I like lots of things. And I really like seeing how I can smash photography into furniture design, or how can I smash painting and graphic design together, or whatever and whatever and whatever together. To me, that's really fascinating. I really don't like silos. I really don't like labels. I don't like divisions. I see it all as one big mess. It's one big interesting gray thing that I get to do stuff with because that's what we do. Like, I'm paid to be curious. Like, that's what a teacher does, I think. Like, we're professionally curious,
For sure.
And it's like incredible. It's like the most incredible job in the world. Like, I can't believe, and I'm not saying this like for a quote, I can't believe I get to do this. Because 20 years ago, I was going to just sell retail. Like, that was it. I was going to just live paycheck to paycheck and kind of hope to get some friends or whatever. And that was it. And now I'm getting to do this thing, which is so beyond my ability to comprehend that I get to do it. And that by some measures I am good at. Again, I would always question that personally, but objectively, I've done pretty well for myself. And so it's really amazing, And the fact that RIT is an institution that was like, hell yeah, go get another degree. That's awesome. You're going to teach, like, you have your job, but absolutely, it's unreal. It's incredible. I'm not saying that lightly. It is exceptionally extraordinary. I got to do this. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, one thing I love is that we're going to talk about being a design student and your dear design students. When you are in that, you're teaching, but then you're also learning. Does that help you to, like, because you said earlier, I was really writing these to myself. And I do think that we are constantly learning. We are not ever not a design student.
Absolutely.
I believe. So when you're taking these furniture classes, does dear design students have a different twist? Did something happen because you're having to learn something, or did you hear the tone in the dear design student tweets change at all?
I think honestly, it helped me be a better teacher in that it helped me realize, like, oh, all of this stuff I think I'm doing as an educator, now it's going to come bite me in the ass because it's happening to me. Yes. And me being like cagey about just, if anybody's, I don't know who's in the room, if anybody's had me as a teacher, they know I'm very cagey. I'm very abstract. I don't like answering questions like with solid yeses and nos. I'm always like, good question, and now all of a sudden I'm like, hey, what do I do for this furniture? And they're like, good question. And I'm like, oh, damn it. I'm like, all right, I deserve that. Like, that's fair. And so that was actually fascinating to sit on the other side and not to judge the people who taught me, because the people I had at furniture were phenomenal. I mean, they're incredibly skilled people, but to be like, oh, so what does it really mean to be a student? Like, what do I really want or need? And there's a million answers to that question, but I thought that was really valuable to me. Not only making furniture, not only getting to do this incredible opportunity at a really high-end program, not only getting to work with these students that are now my friends and colleagues, it's really amazing. But on top of all that, it's like, okay, here was today's kind of class. Like, what did I learn as a professional educator out of this? And that was really valuable, and continues to be really valuable. I don't know if I would say it radically altered my pedagogy, because I kind of think I feel pretty dialed into where my head is, but it definitely helped clarify and sort of alter some stuff for me.
Well, and I think
that
you
was
have
really good.
Empathy in a way, a different way, because
yeah.
you're like, oh, I don't know what you're wanting.
Yep.
I really want to solve this correctly. And your teacher's like, there isn't a correct. It's,
Yep.
And you're like, oh, now I see how frustrating that could be when I say that, right? So,
and I don't think I was a particularly great student. Like, I don't, you'd have to talk to the people. I worked, but I don't think I wasn't like rolling in there like I'm good. I was like, what is this tool? Like, how do I, and it was really hilarious. I actually remember the first project we do, because you really want to learn all the hand tools, is you have to do a table completely by hand, no power tools, which is extremely hard, like really, really difficult. And I remember, you got to picture me, I'm in my late 40s, and I'm like in the bench room, and the other guys are, the other students, the other people in the class are kind of hanging out, having lunch. And I'm like 10 feet away trying to plane a piece of wood, and they're all eating lunch, just giggling their butts off at me. And I'm like, yeah, I earned this. That's fair. Like, that's reasonable. Like, it was a good moment, actually. I was like, yep, here we go. Like, we're not kidding around. Like, I'm not rolling through this. Like, I'm going to work my butt off.
Right.
And I did, and it was worth it. I mean, it was so incredibly worth it.
That's awesome. Okay. So, we're going back to the Dear Design students. When you began, after you were, the not real Paul Rand,
the angry Paul Rand. Yeah.
Right. When you were being you're figuring out your voice. I can think of things that I would say, and I have had conversations with another colleague, like, hey, we should have a course for, parents who are putting their kid in, or the kids. It's like, hey, here's how to actually succeed freshman year, or here's how to succeed in college. Is when you started as you, and then how it developed. Was there a big change in that from where you were right after you weren't Paul Rand to where you are maybe now? Has there been like shifts, or you're pretty?
I think always. Yeah, I'm always changing. I have always there's sort of a idea on, again, the artist formerly known as Twitter, where you would delete old tweets because you realized you said something, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm a human being. I'm going to change my mind. I change my mind every 10 seconds. Like, I'm not going to pretend what I said 10 years ago is as valid. I mean, right. I can't recall anything off the top of my head. I have unquestionably said idiotic garbage that I would look at now and be like, dude, what were you even thinking saying that? But again, to me personally, the authenticity was always there. Like, it was always, I believe, always a real reflection of what I was thinking on a given day or a given week.
Was it a frustration? Was it, and you said this earlier, you were really talking to you. Was it like, oh, like, what was the starter? Like, what were some of the?
I think it was partially that I like to talk, like I'm bubbly or whatever, whatever word we want to use. I think it was partially that I think art design, whatever word we're going to use here, is such an abstract, gray thing that understanding it any way you can, I think is valuable. For me, posting the stuff on Twitter helped me understand what I was doing.
So it's part of your processing?
Unquestionably, yes. I would argue it's part of my creative practice, actually. I would lump it in. I would argue, I mean, again, I have colleagues I love and adore who completely disagree with me on this, but I would argue that writing posts on Twitter, doing a podcast like I'm doing right now, making art, teaching, writing, reading, it's all part of my creative practice. It's all one thing. It's not a whole bunch of different things. So I don't see it as a separation. Like there's Twitter Mitch and then there's teacher Mitch. It's just Mitch.
Right.
And I really decided that. It wasn't just, I didn't roll into it. I don't remember the day, but I was really like, you know what? I am not going to act like these are different things, because to me, they're not. And I can write a tweet, and then that tweet informs something I say to a student 2 days later. And then that student, we're talking about something, and that sparks a thought that kind of rolls into something I'm working on my own, which then rolls into maybe an article I would write or whatever. And I think that denying that is foolish. Why would you pretend they're different? To me, they're not different. It's one thing.
Yeah.
And that's how I roll. And I don't know if it's a good move or not, but that's kind of just how I tend to go. Yeah.
I love that. So I'm going to ask you a question about processing or reflecting. Are you a journaler? Do you write? Is really, because Twitter's shorter number, or used to be even shorter, but having to process and communicate in a number of characters is hard in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But are you really reflective, and then after you've journaled, then you're going out and doing the tweet, or you're like,
I'm just going. I really do. The writing that I've done, other than the book, obviously, is really Twitter. Like that's where I write. My writing is sort of public in that respect. And which is really tough, because I actually sort of just quit Twitter, or X, or whatever the hell. Let's not go down that road right now. I decided I've had enough, because it's no longer really interesting. It's just sort of a vile place to be, and I'm kind of done with it. But I think for me, it was, here's what I'm thinking. Let me try to verbalize it in a way that is clear to me, and let's see if other people kind of understand that, and their reaction to it will help inform me about what I'm thinking. And so if I said something and they're like, actually, dude, no, X, Y, Z, and ignoring the trolls, I'd be like, oh, good. You're right. I hadn't considered that before, thank you. And that is when it's magical. And that's when it's wonderful. And it isn't just all the garbage that's on there now that I'm done with. Like, I just can't deal with it anymore. And so I think that sort of like, I've always described it as just like, I'm not hiding anything professionally. Like there's nothing to hide. Like, here's what I'm thinking about. Here's what I'm worried about.
But personally, he's hiding a whole lot of things.
Stuff I'm not going to tell you. But professionally, or in terms of my kind of creative practice, again, this lump idea, I want to know what I'm trying to do. And I have no problem looking like an idiot in front of people, because I think, honestly, as an educator, the student's like, oh, he's not kidding with this. Like the stuff he's spouting to me in class, he's doing it. And I always felt like that was a really smart move on my point, to sort of not hide my practice. The first thing I say in a new semester is go Google me. And then you can decide if you think I know what I'm talking about or not. Just because I'm the person standing in front of the room doesn't mean you have to care. And nobody wants to say that, but it's true. Like, you don't have to give a crap about this class I'm in. I think you should. I think there's stuff to learn. I think you can learn, even if what you learn is you don't want to do this, that's still a very valuable thing to learn. But I think by being very open about it and being very upfront with how all over the place I am, I think it sort of makes what I have to say in some ways a little more valid for the students, because they're like, oh, he said that. Oh, look at this post he made about this stupid thing he made that sucked. It's like, oh, he's not kidding. Like, he's really doing this.
Yeah.
And so for me, that has always been super valuable. And that is why I am never afraid to follow students on social and stuff. I'm always very upfront with stuff like that. So.
All right. So if you're not on that platform anymore, where are you?
Pretty much
where
just
you're
Instagram.
Sharing, just Instagram. You're sharing those things. Okay. Yep. So now we're going back to some of the Dear Design student tweets. Okay.
Okay.
So as you're doing this, I can imagine if I was doing this, it probably would not have come out. I would have been just like complaining about students, I guess, I mean, during the pandemic, I had to
Right.
tell more than one child, and I'm going to say child, to put on a shirt. I'm like, do you have a shirt on? And they're like, no. And I'm like, I'm going to have to put that in my syllabus. Must wear clothes.
Exactly.
That was very,
Exactly.
very uncomfortable. Okay. So Doc says, would threads be something
Yeah.
you'd use to take the place of Twitter combos?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm good with it. I mean, I have threads, I have the account, but I think that at the end of the day, I can give enough on Instagram and get back enough in terms of the dialogue on Instagram where I don't need additional places for that. I think one is
Okay.
good for me. Like, I think I'm good with just pretty much just Instagram. And I'm not honestly a huge fan of like owning my data to Facebook. I mean, they own it. I'm not
Right.
delighted about that, but welcome to 2023. I mean, that you don't have a lot of choices these days.
Okay. So tell us some of your favorite Dear design students. What are some of the ones that have like really captured you and you're like,
I think the ones that are probably the most other than things that are just amusing, which I can't recall off the top of my head.
but I think that's one of the things that is
yeah.
great about you is that it's your humor and it
Yeah.
does come out, right? So some of it is that kind of like, um, I think you're funny, right?
Thank you. I'll take it. Thank you. Yeah. I think really the things that were most valuable, I'm going to use that word kind of loosely, were the stuff really about kind of critique and things like that. Because I think critique, it's something like I say, oh, you're going to be in school and you're going to critique, and everybody's like, okay, cool. But they don't really understand what that is until you're in it. And I think that what I have learned over the years is a critique is difficult and you have to practice it and you have to get good at it. It's not like you're instantaneously good at it because you're in art school. And so I think some of the stuff that I've been talking about with critique, which eventually rolled into, I ended up putting them sort of together on a website called howtocrit.com, which is still live and people can go look at that. And people share it all the time, which is incredibly flattering and amazing. Which eventually honestly rolled into the book because it sort of was like, oh, this stuff is not just like I'm being funny. Like there's something kind of going on here. And when I started realizing like this critique conversation, people were like, oh, oh, I hadn't thought of that, or oh, interesting point, or oh, no, wrong, or whatever. I was like, oh, there's something going on here. Like there's something, there's a need that is, I am meeting a tiny little, a tiny little bit. I'm giving a little bit of this need of understanding how this works. And I think especially for students who are 18 or 19 coming out of high school, especially for parents who like, no offense to parents, but if they're not artists or designers, art school and design school looks like a foreign and alien world. Like it doesn't even make sense. Like, so you mean I'm going to make stuff and then everybody's going to like talk about it in front of each other and tell me I'm bad? And it's like, not exactly, but kind of, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what And so realizing that there was something really interesting and useful in that respect, not just for me, but for other people, that was when I was like, oh, that's where this is going to be not just fun, but like value. I'm going to use valuable in air quotes. Like there's something going on here. And that eventually sort of helped me get into the book. And that's how and the book came from Twitter. Like somebody, this guy, Paul Wagner, who was the design director at Princeton Architectural Press, reached out to me. And this is like 5 years ago. It was like, we're thinking about, we want you to talk about writing a book. And I'm like, who is this? What spam account is this? Like, don't screw with me, and I was totally like, who is this idiot? And no, Paul's a great guy.
Was this before tenure or after?
This was before, before tenure, a couple of years before tenure. So I think he first communicated with me in maybe 2015, 16, 17, in that range. Like it was a few years ago. It took a while to get the book kind of done. But that's when I was like, oh, so even more than what I thought this is even more than I realized. Like, oh, this is actually interesting, because this guy's not a design student anymore. He's a creative director at a major publisher. And again, it's those moments where you're just like, how is this happening? Like, who do I owe for like letting this out? How did I swing this? And so I guess all of this is to say that, yeah, social media can be a cesspool of insults and garbage and bad stuff, but there are pockets of stuff that's actually really quite interesting and quite valuable. And for me, it's been an amazing opportunity between the book, getting to talk at schools, getting to be on a podcast with you. I mean, you and I met a few years ago on Zooms because of Twitter, during the pandemic and stuff. And so like, yes, there's this toxic hell, but there's also this really wonderful, really like beautiful thing that can happen too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's really pretty unbelievably great.
I agree. I'm totally with you. Many of the people who are here, I have met maybe in person, yes, but first it was because they were here and they came, and I know everybody, where everybody's from, and I wrote you down: Zoe, Western Mass, and Annette in Fort Lauderdale, but everybody else I know, and some of them I have hugged and some of them I have yet to hug, but I will at some point, right? But they're my friends. They're real friends. They're real people that show up. I just have not ever hugged them.
Same.
So, but I do think that there's something beautiful about the internet. This is what I love.
Absolutely.
Okay. So in the book, who was it intentionally for in the beginning? The first, customer persona. Who is this book? Who did you write this for? Or who were these tweets for?
I think it was for three people. Me first.
You as a student.
Me, Mitch, human being who teaches professionally and wants to understand what the hell I'm talking about on a given day. That's the secret audience. That's me. But then really it was directed toward current or potential design students, art design students, and current or potential art and design educators. And really the conversation I had with the publisher, because I love that I get to say this. We took a lunch. I love that I get to say I took a lunch with a publisher. I took a lunch. I drove down to Hudson Valley to their offices, and we talked over lunch, and I was like, look, if you want like an academic text, I am not the guy. Like, we're not doing that. And I said, I'm really interested in talking to students, but I also am really interested in talking to teachers. And we sort of discussed it. And I said, I'd kind of like to write one book that addresses both audiences. And so what that eventually evolved into is the book is maybe 70% speaking to a student or a potential student, or even arguably the parents of a potential student, and 30 or 40% speaking to teachers. And so in the book, in the chapters, it'll do some stuff, and then it'll say for teachers, comma, and then there'll be a stuff that addresses teachers. And I decided there was a moment where it was like, maybe this is actually two books, like how to be a design student, how to be a design teacher. And I realized that, no, I don't think we're that separate, actually. I think that design students and teachers are maybe 95% identical, which makes no sense to most people, but I really do believe that. And so I wanted students to read the stuff I was saying to teachers, and I wanted teachers to read the stuff I was saying to students. And that's why ultimately it became one book. And I feel pretty good about that choice. I think that was I have moments where I'm pretty smart occasionally. And I was like, boop, that was a good one,
So then because I think most of the people in the chat are designers. Two people I don't know yet. Well, so not yet, at least. So in that, is this for, I'm thinking about Paul. Paul went back to school. He has a PhD in physics. He's had his own, I can't remember, Paul, engineer. I don't know. Anyway, he sold things, and then he had to do the design for it, and he fell in love with design. Then he went back and got his design degree, and he's a great book designer. And so now is it at all for traditional 18-year-olds, or would it be for Paul also? Because I don't remember how old Paul was when he went back to school, but there are other people here that went and did their graphic design degree later.
I would say yes.
So for both,
for everybody. I think it's for anybody who understands that you stop learning when you die.
Okay. So it's really for us who are practicing designers as well, because we need to keep embracing that we are still a design student.
Yeah, because design school doesn't just happen in design school.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Like, design school happens every day. I would argue design school happens when you go to dinner with somebody you care about, or you see a movie, or you go to a show, or you take a walk. That's design school. What design school isn't is teacher says this, you do the thing that teacher said, you hand it in, and teacher gives you an A. That, I think, is basically worthless, or mostly worthless. What is interesting is here's all this weird thing we call life, which nobody really understands. And you as the designer, you take all this stuff and you put it in your brain and you mix it around, and then you output it into sort of visual artifacts or whatever. That's what school is. And in my opinion, you don't do that. You don't stop doing that until you are dead. That is when you stop being in school. And I mean that very sincerely. I'm not being funny. I really do mean that. And I think that is such an important idea that I hope it's so hard when you write a book because it's like a 3-year internal dialogue. It is impossible for me to evaluate whether this book is any good or not at this point. But I believe that the book speaks to that idea that something I am sort of directing at a 19-year-old sophomore is absolutely valuable to a 50-year-old art director somewhere who's interested in just being better, you know? Now, that might be BS. That might be me being very egocentric. I don't really know, but I believe my intent was for that. My intent was not to alienate people who are done with school. Like there's not a chapter book that says, oh, you're graduated, you're not allowed to read this. Like I really think there's value for everybody.
Absolutely. So Hannah and Doc both say preach. They're giving you the amens.
Thank you. Thank you.
But Daniel says 100% that design school, in quotes, changes on an everyday basis and that he's always teaching himself new things. I actually think, especially in our field of graphic design, our field is changing all the time. You have to be flexible. But there have been mastermind groups I've been in where there were still tears when people were honest. And sometimes there's a weird bug on my computer. I killed it. Hopefully nobody's upset that I killed that bug, but I don't want that bug.
We appreciate the sacrifice.
Yeah. But in that it's a really important, that critique space is something that I missed a lot after I got out of school, because who is going to be that honest with me? You know,
very few people.
And a client doesn't have the knowledge to give you the feedback or to give you the critique that you really need. I know I've talked to Paul about this a lot. Like at some point, you have gotten to learn almost everything it may be that you can. And now you need someone to push you. You need somebody who matches you intellectually where you are. You know how to do all the grep styles and you know how to do all these other weird things in book design. Now you need someone to push you conceptually, or now you need someone. And I think that is where there's value in groups, even if everybody doesn't always come from the same area or the same, that actually can make it better because they see things in a new way. And I love, this is what at VCU, which I graduated from there in 2001. I don't know when you graduated.
For me. Yeah, I was 2012, I think.
Way before you.
Way before.
I'm got my walker over there. Anyway. But I remember John Malinowski was one of our teachers, one of your teachers. He was my favorite.
He was?
And you said that like he was?
No. He's great. John was amazing.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. But he did not sugarcoat anything.
Nope.
And I was so glad because I'm like such a okay, you want me to do this? Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I don't know what all these other people know. Maybe it's because I went to school in Alabama. I don't know. Maybe, what did they teach us this at Auburn? And maybe I just missed that part. Who knows? But my professors were awesome. I love my professors at Auburn. But I remember saying, you know what? I don't care if I look like an idiot. And you've said this as well. You've said this earlier today in our conversation. I want to learn more than I want to look correct. I remember Malinowski saying, who knows blah, blah designer? And I'm like, not me. He was like, who doesn't know blah, blah designer? I literally was the only one that would raise my hand. And I was like, I'm the only one. Could you please tell me? And he said to me as I graduated, he was like, Diane, nobody else knew. Or maybe not all of them, but you were the only one that would raise your hand. And he's like, I will miss that. And I so appreciated him saying that to me, that sometimes it's about how much, hey, there's Megan D. How much
I know Megan D.
I know. Yeah. How much do you want to learn? And I think that I know most of these people over here. And Maya is my new friend in Norway. She is always watching things on YouTube, learning things. We're talking about things. She's an incredible artist. And it's like, this is when we can continue to learn and then we can share. That's why I love YouTube. I love putting the podcast out on YouTube. But we get stronger and better the more we rub up against. Me and Dee have been in many groups together, and she's always teaching me new things. And when she's excited about algae ink, or I have a joke. Are you ready? It has to do with algae. Okay, it's total dad joke. D, you can use this anytime. Okay, what kind of bra does a mermaid wear?
Go on.
Algebra. Get it? Anyway, it's really bad. I know the ADD is kicking in real hard because I just took my medicine.
That is going to be permanently on record. Just so you know, that's in the ether now.
My dad sent it to me the other day. But in this, I just think that we are always we are always learning. We are but we learn better when we actually are vulnerable.
Exactly.
And can say, hey, I don't know. Could you teach me? And so many of us are either lonely onlys like Amy Lyons. She's an awesome designer, awesome illustrator. And I have seen her grow over so many years because we've been friends for 12 years. I've seen her illustrations go from here to amazing, because she kept working on it, and she continues to keep working on it. Same thing. It's like, if we're not trying to get better, but most people spend maybe 4 years in school trying to get better or trying to learn. And then they think that they don't have, I think we think we're supposed to have it together, and we're not supposed to be so curious, or we have to do that on our own. And there isn't as much of a space in regular offices or design. It's like, you got to know but we always have to keep learning anyway.
Well, so here's the thing I agree with you. Obviously, I mean, I've built my career on agreeing with you on that. I will say there is nothing wrong with going to school for 4 years, getting your degree, showing up at 9, doing your job, and at 5 o'clock, you go home to your family.
Absolutely.
That is a phenomenally valid, excellent way to do this. Work 50 weeks a year, work 40 hours a week or whatever, you don't have to care as much as you and I do to be legitimate as a designer. There's nothing wrong with that. If you can have this job where you don't have to have manual labor, where you're not being sort of crapped on by your superiors, and you get to go into an office, make stuff, and go home and spend time with your family and spend all day Saturday and Sunday with your kids, I think that's incredible. Like, I don't dismiss that I think that's a phenomenal life that you can have. Personally, for me personally, it wasn't enough. I wanted more, but I'm always quick to sort of, there's this, I think a lot of what spurned some of my more snarky Twitter stuff was basically the sort of arrogance of designers in a lot of ways. And I think the way I've always referred to it as, we are arrogantly insecure. Like, we are so full of ourselves, but the second like somebody suggests we work for free, we're like, oh my God, well, how dare you? And it's ridiculous, right? There's nothing wrong with having a job where you flow stuff into InDesign, and at 5:01 p.m. you don't care anymore, and at 9 a.m. the next day you do care. That is totally awesome. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I wish I had that life, because my brain just will not shut up, and it really drives me nuts sometimes, right? Having said all of that, obviously my practice, the book, what I write about, blah, 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 is all geared to the people who are really maybe a little more in it, sort of in an esoteric way. But I think at the end of the day, the book is more about an approach than anything else. It's not how to do X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? It's really like, here's how you could approach education. Here's how you can approach sort of understanding how this stuff works. And at the end of the day, for me personally, I call it applied curiosity. It's not just being curious, it's being applied in my curiosity. It's making stuff, it's doing things, it's actively participating. And that is where I live personally. And I'm not going to tell you that's the best place to live. I'm going to tell you that's where I live. And that, for me, often that works. Sometimes it's a nightmare, but often that works pretty well. And so I think really that's kind of where I'm at with this is here's my view. And I've, some of the comments I've gotten about the book are people like, well, you sort of play both sides a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, because I don't think I'm inherently more correct than someone else. I just have my opinions, which are informed and I believe valid and I believe legitimate, but that doesn't mean somebody else is inherently incorrect. It's just a different attitude.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like dismissing people. I don't like saying no, incorrect, wrong. I don't really like words like right and wrong or yes and no. It's too ambiguous and gray, which is why it is so interesting, because it is so ambiguous and gray and kind of anything goes if you want it to. And I love that. I love that. And I think that my experience in grad school, both at VCU and at RIT, my experience at undergrad, it just constantly revalidated that it's this weird thing. Nobody really understands it, but we all kind of understand it. So let's just go. Let's just go. Let's go 100 miles an hour in. Let's not tiptoe. Let's go. And I think for me, that's how I have to do it. I don't know another way to do it.
Well, and I think that,
and it might not be good, but that is just my approach.
I think that a lot of things have to do with audience, right? If I'm designing one thing, that could be right for one audience, but it could be terrible for another audience. If it depends on who I was designing for, and you always have to kind of keep that in mind. For me, there's
exactly
those. So what are some, and this may be some more funny things, but it doesn't have to be. What are some of your pet peeves in regards to students who are studying design?
My biggest pet peeve is constantly and endlessly comparing themselves to either each other or to some sort of design hero who's got like a 40-year career. I constantly hear students going, oh my God, did you see XYZ's? I'll never get. And I'm like, talk to me in 40 years and we'll see where you're at, because you might be surprised. So that's the number one thing for me, is the students like defeating themselves by constantly comparing themselves to each other, which I understand. That's like welcome to life. Like you're going to do that for the rest of your life, but it's a bad, toxic thing to do. And by saying, oh, my friend or this person I'm in class with got an interview at XYZ and I didn't, I suck. No, you do not suck. This person was just slightly better at getting this one specific interview. Doesn't mean they're a better designer. Doesn't mean they're a better interviewer. All it means is this one specific moment, they were maybe a slightly ahead of you, but that doesn't mean you lose, right? I think there's this attitude in design school, and again, I'm not speaking specifically about RIT. I'm speaking about broadly speaking design schools, that there's this like elite set of jobs or studios, Weed & Kennedy, Apple, Alphabet, blah, 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 blah. And if you get those jobs, you won design school, like you win. And everybody else who works in Oklahoma lost. And I think that is just the most absurd pile of bullshit I've ever heard. Sorry, I hope I'm swearing is okay. It's just such garbage.
My mom's dead. It's okay.
Yeah, it's
we'll cut it.
It's so dumb, because what does it do? It makes everybody 10 times more stressed out. It makes everybody get super competitive with each other. My experience at RISD was incredible, except spring semester of senior year.
Wow.
When everybody got hyper competitive with each other, and there was all sorts of very casual. I distinctly remember conversations with people going, oh, how was your weekend? And they're like, oh, I'm so tired. I had so many interviews at Pentagram. And it's like,
oh man,
off a little bit. Like, I don't need, like, what are you telling me with that? I don't care. Like that. What is that? Like, am I supposed to be impressed by that? Stuff like that drives me ape. And I actually lecture to my seniors about this. Like, we have a talk about this where I'm like, look, you guys need to understand something. And I say to them, look to your left and right. And I'm like, this is your first professional network.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't be jerks to each other, not only because you should just not be a horrible human being in general, but in addition to that, these people 10 years from now, you never know who might be either giving you or not giving you a job.
Yeah.
And my experience of being a designer and being in the community is that jobs come from other designers all the time. And if I have something I can't do, or I don't want to do, or I don't have time to do, or I can't afford to do, I'm not going to tell the client, touch it. I'm going to say, wait, I know somebody. And I think people forget that. And that doesn't mean you have to be like strategic and tactical and lie to your friends. It just means that there's no reason to not be a good human being. And I think if you're just like a good person, like good things, I know this sounds so stupid to say out loud, but I think that good things beget good things generally. Not always, not all the time, but often. And so for me, I just want us to be a little bit kinder to each other as like designers and human beings. And I'm hoping, I believe that my tone on social in the past and currently is I can poke fun, but I'm not mean. I'm mean to Adobe because Adobe deserves to be mean. But other than that, I'm not like mean to people. I never want to literally say to a person, this design you made sucks and call that out. I would never do that. I will tease a giant corporation that spent $3 million on a horrible logo because they deserve to be made fun of, but not an individual human being. And that's always a line that I drew. I don't want to belittle somebody. I don't want to dismiss somebody. I don't want to do that. There's enough of that in the world. I make art and design. Like, we're not in the business of life and death here. Like, we need to calm down and just enjoy that we get to do this for a living, you know? So again, that's kind of my broad approach, I would say.
And Megan says, true, it's bad to compare for better or worse. Sometimes students are like, I just have to be better than Judy. And then they don't push themselves as much as they could. And then at other times they beat themselves up because they aren't in the same place as Judy or they're not the same level, right? Yeah. I just made up Judy. I don't know Judy. Okay. So are there any pet peeves that you have that maybe aren't in the book that are just student related? And it could be just about, maybe it's not necessarily student, but it's those designers who think that they don't have to learn anymore. Maybe.
I think that there is nothing specific really. I try not to be a very negative person, broadly speaking, but I just wish that some of the arrogance and the elitism would just go away. And I do feel like it's getting there. I think people are starting to be hip to the fact that maybe being full of ourselves isn't really that awesome. Like, that's not great.
I do think our generation it's better. And
I think it's better. Yeah, I think we're getting
than it was, maybe.
And so I think that understanding that there are so many different people on the planet, different backgrounds, different lives, different understandings, different educations, different everything, times infinity, that just because you think something doesn't necessarily mean you're right, or that it is even about right or wrong. It's your approach. And so I think you should, believe in what you say, but also understand other people can be right too.
Yeah.
And I think you need to do both of those things.
And know that you can change your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what do you love most about teaching? So from undergrad at RISD, there was something that happened. I don't know if there was a teacher or if it was just like, this makes sense. What was it that pulled you in? And then What do you love?
It's the best job in the world. I don't say that lightly. I've had a lot of jobs, so I'm not saying that casually. It is the best job in the world, with one notable exception, which is I'm never going to get rich teaching.
Right.
And I accepted that on day one. I am comfortable. I get paid a very fair salary. I have no complaints, but wealth is not going to be a conversation I'm going to be involved in. Once I accepted that, it is the greatest. I am paid to be professionally curious about stuff and to talk about how curious I am with other people who are also professionally curious.
Okay. So what about
That's
students?
The best job in the world.
So what do you love about actually getting somebody to that next level, or taking somebody? Because I would think some of our students wouldn't think of themselves as professionally curious yet. Maybe.
I love everything about it. Like, I can't answer that question. I love all of it. There are these moments, I call them holy shit moments. And I personally have had a number of them over the years, but it's like once a semester, twice a semester, maybe. Doesn't mean the rest of the semester was worthless. It was valuable, but there are these moments where your worldview changes and you understand something or see something and you're just like, holy, what? Like, how? And I've had a few of those moments. And so I hope this is true. I can't prove it. I believe I have helped initiate that for some students over the years. And every once in a while, you see a student, you say something to a student, they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And that is like, yeah, like, yes, like, yeah, like that's what it's about. And it isn't about me being validated or them 10 years from now getting an AIGA award and crediting me. I don't care about any of that stuff. That is not, it's not about me. But like getting to see that, woo, like the brain also goes, and it starts, it's like, I can't even explain how satisfying that is as a human being. It's just such a wonderful thing to like get to do that for somebody or to help somebody achieve those moments. It's incredible. I can't even make words. Like, it's the most unbelievable thing on the planet. And it's so worth it. Like, I mean, it's a job. I love working. People think work is like a bad word. I love the word work. I love to work. I love it that I have a job. I love having to go somewhere. I hate summer. I want to teach all year. I hate it. Give me 2 weeks off here and there and I'm good. But like the fact that I get to be this person who is making a living, helping people be more awesome, but in like a really real way, not in a BS like life coachy way, but in a real way, it's unreal. I can't verbalize it to you. It's unbelievable that that's a thing that exists. And I cannot believe I get to do that. And I'm not facetiously saying that. I cannot believe I get to do this for a living.
Okay, so when is the right time to retire?
I would say just before I'm dead. And I mean like an hour or two. Like not years, I mean a couple of hours. It's funny, I actually had a chat with my accountant, which by the way, you all should have a good accountant in my opinion. And we were talking about my retirement stuff and just looking at my 401k and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, so you want to retire when you're like 62, 65? And I'm like, I don't want to, why would I want to retire? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Why would I want to not do this? Like, he's like, are you out of your mind? And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm going to retire when I'm physically incapable of speaking. So the idea of like sitting on a beach when I'm old, if it's a beach in like Amsterdam where there's a design school I could teach at, that would be cool. But beyond that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to ever not do this. I am compelled to do this. Like, I don't have a choice. And again, this being a lot of various things, but like, I don't have a choice to not do this. I have a hard time after like week 2 of winter break. I can't even comprehend year 4 of, I can't even wrap my mind around what that would look like. There's no way in hell I'm ever going to do that. I hope if I am lucky, I'm healthy enough and physically capable of communicating and doing this. But like retirement is not, I have no interest in that at all. Now, who knows? Maybe when I'm 90, I'll feel differently, but I can't even fathom what that looks like. You know, my dad, I love him dearly. He was a salesperson his whole life. And then he and my stepmother moved down to Florida. And they are living this like Seinfeld condo life, you know, like Morty Seinfeld, right? And they love it. And they're like, you've got to come down and see it. And I'm like, I definitely want to see it. He's like, you might be surprised. I'm like, no, I am that is not going to be where I'm not. That's not what I'm going to go do. And I'm like, it's amazing. You love it. It's awesome. Love it. Enjoy it. But like, I'm good. Like, that is not who I'm going to be. And I think that just kind of knowing that, again, it doesn't mean I'll make anything good. I might suck when I'm 90 or whatever, but I'm willing to go there. Like, I'm willing to do that. I think that's kind of who I am. I can't handle not having something to do. I'm just not good. I'm really bad at relaxing. It's actually a problem. Like,
I'm really bad at relaxing too. I wonder if that's a trait either of professors or of designers. Because Lord,
I tried to take a day off. Yeah, I was like, I am taking a day off on Saturday. I am gonna like not get dressed. I'm gonna watch Netflix or whatever. You know, I like doing jigsaw. I'll do a jigsaw puzzle. And by the end of the day, I was like, this day kind of sucked. Like, I wish I would have done something. This wasn't relaxing at all. And like, I'm not bragging. Like, it's a problem. Like, I talked to my therapist about that. Like, it's a problem, but it's just who I am. And I think one of my favorite things about getting older is not caring what other people have to say about me more and more every year. It's kind of just like, this is who I am. Take it, leave it, whatever.
I love that. Okay. Yeah. So I want to, at least if you have time for another 5-minute question. So one thing I love, and Paul says, I get that about relaxing. My idea of a vacation is quiet time when I can work. Amen, Paul.
Amen to that, Paul. Yeah.
I am there. It's like, oh, that's just uninterrupted time when my husband's not going to keep coming in and making this noise at the door that he makes, like my dog or something. But okay, so I want to ask you what's next, but I also want to ask you about this hybrid practice. I think Maura will also really like this because she's also a graphic designer, but she's also industrial and she loves furniture. So I'm asking this one for you, Maura. Hopefully this is good. But you love to learn. You got your degree in for another master's in furniture design. And you told us what, furniture was kind of like the itch that wasn't architecture. And you're really, it's this hybrid practice.
Right.
Can you talk about it a little bit? About what you see it being and how it can work?
So that's a really good question. And I'm not being cagey. I don't quite know how to answer it, but I will try. I think, and I'm going to say this real loosely, I think that at the end of the day, all of these things I've learned between, I used to do a lot of darkroom photography, graphic design, furniture, fine art, sculpture. I've been in galleries. I've written a book, all this stuff.
I've been in galleries. I hadn't had my work in there.
I've been lucky enough to be in a couple gallery shows, and I've sold a little bit of work, not a lot, but here and there. I think at the end of the day, all of this comes down to me handling my existence as a human being. And I think that's what all artists do, but I'm doing it in a way that I think the way that I've kind of quantified it, verbalized it, whatever, is that the title of my furniture thesis was When It Clicks, because it was this idea. I really like jigsaw puzzles. Love them. I must own like 40 or 50. I'm going to start donating them because I have too many. And the reason why I love it is about that moment when you find the piece and it clicks and it goes, in that moment, the world makes sense to me. My existence as a person makes sense to me. And so I think what my work is about is understanding where I sit in the world, because I am an anxious person. I suffer from anxiety. I have some depression. I'm on medication. I'm in therapy. Like, I'm as messed up as anybody else is, right? I don't even think it's messed up. I think it's just a human being. Like, that's what a person is. And so for me, the work is making these moments where stuff goes, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I understand that connection between those two things. And so a lot of my work aesthetically is very fragmented and very angular. But what it really is all of this sort of chaotic stuff where these moments of understanding live through it. Again, and I mean literally like visual moments of stuff kind of connecting. And so I think that ultimately what my hybrid practice is me just understanding how to be a person. The way I do that, in addition to like, having a partner and friends and blah, 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 is to just like understand how I sit in the world. And so I believe what my practice is about is making those moments of clarification, like Legos, like Hannah just said, Legos. I love Legos, but what I don't love is here's a bucket of Legos, go make something. I hate that. What I love is here is the Millennium Falcon Lego set, and here's a 90-page instruction booklet. Go through it and put this together. I love that. My creativity doesn't sit beside my relaxation. It sits opposite of it in a way. And so I sort of have both sides of Mitch. There's the Mitch who really likes the chaos and the ambiguity, but then there's the Mitch who really, really likes, like Maura said, parameters. Like I like hard edges on stuff, almost more as a therapeutic idea than about really making art exactly. And that's why, to me, a jigsaw puzzle isn't just I'm bored. It's calm down. It's like I'm going to take a moment, and when these pieces click together, it's a little moment, but I'm just like, And I think, and this all might be BS, but I think that is where my work is going. I think that's why I make what I make. I think that's why I work the way I work. I try to work kind of very randomly and chaotically and very chancy. And, Megan saw my work at grad school. She would verify that, my stuff is kind of all over the place. And I think that is why, because that is how I sort of perceive my existence in the planet as this world. I mean, we're not even going to get into what's going on right now in the world. It is like so beyond understanding to me as just a person. Like I can't understand it, but you know what? When the puzzle piece clicks in, it's like, okay, I'm good. Like I have 5 seconds where I'm good. And so ultimately, I think that's what my work is about. So I know that was like an extremely long
answer. I love that. I love that answer.
But I think that's what it's about. And so I think where it's going in a more practical answer, I really am interested in smushing all this stuff together. I'm really interested in what happens if I bring wood into a dark room, or what happens if I put photo emulsion on a piece of furniture and develop it, or if I make a collage out of old, or any number of things where stuff just mushes into each other. And that's kind of where I'm at. Now, having said all that, talk to me in 2 years and I will tell you if that was all BS or not.
Okay. I'm going to get you back on in 2 years. You're going to show us stuff that is.
We got to see where I'm going with this, but that's my theory.
I want to. I love that though. So what's next is that you don't want to take summers
Nope.
and you want to die teaching
Yep.
and you're melding things together. And I love this. So understanding the connection between maybe seemingly unrelated things, and it makes sense in life. It's how you fit into the world. It's also, so I love, it's beautiful. Great way. I want to make sure everybody knows how to get in touch with you or how to follow you. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube and this isn't live, they are at the top of the YouTube thing. If you're listening on your iPod, who even has an iPod anymore?
What's an iPod?
For you young people, that's how we started. It's at the top of your, wherever your podcasts are.
Yeah.
It's right at the top. And then underneath that, there's a couple other links. One, Doc's not here anymore, but we are still raising money for the Tatas. His wife has breast cancer again, and we are going to save Julie Reed. And if you want to give to that, she's going at it from a different angle, and the different angle isn't always covered by regular insurance. So if you want to help raise money for them, they have 3 little girls and three, right, Amy, 3. I'm asking Amy to respond. But it is GoFundMe. Let me read Mitch's first. Mitch, Mitch, Goldstein, GoldStein.com. That is where you can get the book information. On most social medias, this is how you are, MGOLDST. On Instagram. So I think I'm saying, anyway, I think I say the letter M funny.
M Goldst.
M Goldst. And then if you want to check out at RIT, it's rit.edu, which is Rochester Institute of Technology /shop one. I was like, show pony. Anyway, I'm a terrible reader. SHOPONE/artists with an S /Mitch Goldstein. And that's where his work is for sale. And then they have 4 girls. I knew it. I knew I was missing Hazel. It was Hazel. Hazel's the baby, I believe. Anyway, my nose is running. Then I also just want to remind you that me and Hannah and Paul already started, but I hadn't seen yours, Paul. I need to see it. Maura, I've seen some. Hannah has been doing it with me. Dee, you said you were going to do it. Everybody in here, I would love to see you do Imaginember with me. So, Mitch, if you didn't know, I have changed November. It is no longer called November. It is called Imaginember. And I think all month long, we all need to exercise our imaginations. I actually believe that we think that it's for kids, and I don't. I actually think this is something we need to get over, that it's, because I hear this a lot. Oh, I'll do this with my kids. I was like, actually, I think you need to do it.
Do it for
your kids.
Yeah.
Because we need to look at things and we are solving problems, and it has been so much fun. Okay. If you go, so Maya, you just asked. So if you go to creativesignite.com/imagine, it's IMAGINEMBER-2023. You can sign up at the bottom. It's a workout for your imagination. And this last year we did blobs and it was super fun. This year we're doing all these Unsplash images. So I pulled images off of Unsplash, and you get to make things from furniture. So you get, I can't see myself because I have the chat over me, but you get something like this, like a nice little, and they start off easy and they get harder. Paul and I were talking. He's like, this is like a book, Diane. I combine this. But these are ones I did. Now I'm just doing it physically, but I think Hannah is doing it digitally. I also give you an option. So see, I made a face. Somebody else, Sophie, she's 10. I think she's 10. She made it into a shark. Her dad made it into a frog. Week 1 is on the iPad. Maura says, but they get harder as they go, and I think it's really fun. So I'm going to show you the one that, and everybody sees different things, and the people who are doing it on the iPad can zoom in more and can see things. It's kind of making me jealous that I should get my iPad out. But here, this was one we did. I don't remember what day, but I was like, who puts a black painted canvas. That's it. That's what I was like. Well, we're drawing all over it. Some people, Carol Record, man, she went all over the place. I made a kitty, and I put some pink glitter for his nose. I mean, I made something with the little guy. I think Hannah and Sophie and Harrison made something with this little thing. Right? I mean, it is so much fun. Please. Oh my gosh, guys.
That's amazing.
This has been, and some, they get harder, I think.
Yeah.
But
just always be making. That's it.
And even
always be making.
And it's I think about Paul. Paul's like, I can't draw, but Paul can draw. And sometimes it's just 2 dots and a smile. It's little things. So let's save Julie Reed. Let's follow Mitch. And then let's exercise our imagination. And you can start anytime. It is not, you don't have to do it, but there are 42 days of papers so that you can go in and you can print them out, or when you get that first email, there's a zip file. You can download it and do it on your iPad like Hannah's doing it. So it has been really fun. And Paul, I noticed that I have not seen any of yours. You can just text me
no pressure.
Your images if you don't want to put it on Instagram. But I want to see y'all's. Like, I want to have a big thing where we're coming together talking about it. Next week, I'm at my dad's, so we're not going to do the podcast next week. But then the next week was right before Thanksgiving, and I'm going to talk about Imagineer. I'm going to show you some stuff. So if you've been posting stuff, I'm going to ask you to send me some images. I'll put a Google Drive together, but it's going to be fun. So
that's great.
Mitch, thank you for being here. Thank you for being so full of energy and sharing your love of teaching, sharing your love of design, and just being creative. I am going to connect you with my friend Chris Martin, because he's all about curiosity too, and you can be on his podcast. Not that I can control what's on his podcast.
It would be an honor.
Yeah, but I would love to connect you with him. So Chris, I'm connecting you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on. It's great to see you again. Thanks to everybody in the chat. It's just so great. I love doing stuff like this. So thank you for even listening.
You do great. So, and I can't wait. So we can get the book only on your website, or can we get the book?
Do you mean
anywhere?
This book? Yeah,
I mean that book.
Everywhere you buy books. So Amazon, independent bookstores, all the normal retail places.
Awesome.
And it's like a third the price on a Kindle.
Okay. How to be how to be a design student.
Yep.
Okay. I love it. And he designed the whole thing.
I did the whole thing.
All right. Great.
There's words inside. Yeah, it's like a book.
That's awesome. All right. Well, I will see you guys in 2 weeks, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and I'm going to talk about Imagineer. And Mitch, I hope to see you again soon. And in 2 years, you're back on showing me everything you've done.
And thanks everybody in the chat. Good to see y'all. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.